They are so unwilling to look at themselves that they do everything they can to distract themselves. Growth gang, welcome back to another growth talk. Today we're gonna talk about distractions. Like, I truly believe that men have their head in the sand, metaphorically. They are so unwilling to look at themselves that they do everything they can to distract themselves. It's been something that has been very denoted in my life lately, both in myself and in the men around me. Like, I know a couple guys that, like, they're literally, like, they've got music playing, streaming somebody on, you know what I mean, on the computer that they're watching or on the TV that they're watching, playing video games, and talking to somebody on the phone for hours on end. And I kind of hope that you see this because, like, yes, I noticed that you are just completely distracting yourself, doing everything that you can to take your eye off the prize. The prize being you. Like, some people are so unwilling to look at themselves and where they are in life that they do everything they can to distract themselves. I firmly believe that this is like an unconscious action. Like, I don't believe that, like, people are even aware that they're distracting themselves. They're just unwilling to look at themselves. So they do everything they can to put those blinders up and to numb themselves out from the harsh realities of who they are in their current position in life. Like, if you can't take a look at yourself, blind, like, you know what I mean? Like, how do they say that? Like, if you can't blindly stare, or if you can't stare at your nakedly at your inadequacies, or something like that. Moral of the fucking story, bro. Like, you need to be able to look at yourself. And if you can't stand who you are to the point where, like, you won't even look in at you, you got even deeper work to do than maybe I could even fucking help you with. Like, I hope that I can create the awarenesses and, like, the new shifts in perspective that create the vantage point for you to look down on your situations and interject some subtle course corrections. Like, they don't have to be monumental fixes and moves. Like, it's literally like slight course corrections, micro corrections that would actually change everything for most of the men that I know. They just refuse to do it. It's not some big task. It's not going to take them a long time. It's not something that they got to, like, overzealously discipline themselves to achieve. They just refuse to do it. Like, they actually refuse to look at themselves and to know what changes they need to make in order to be more in alignment with themselves and what they wish to both contribute and extract from life. Stop distracting yourself, boys. Like, honestly, it's actually kind of fucking crazy. Straight up. Like, and I'm guilty of it, but the beautiful thing, through awareness, I can set that intention, and I now have little stop losses, and, you know what I mean, little checks and balances to have a fat, like, to more, like, to understand quicker, like, to understand quicker that I'm doing it. Like, that's the thing, is like, people are so, like, I'm almost too self-aware. Some people are obliviously unaware of self. Just fucking crazy, bro. Like, I don't understand it, honestly. Like, if I had to make a list of all the guys that I know that are just wobbling through fucking life on autopilot, I'd need a couple fucking pens. Because I would run out of ink. But anyways, like, I just want to get a little bit more into it. I'm going to do the Q&As. I did put up the Q&A in my Instagram story around this topic. The topic that I posted was more specifically like metaphorically, men have their head in the sand. Like they're doing everything they can to distract themselves so they don't have to look inward. So, like the first question that I got, what does it mean to have your head in the sand? Good question. Having your head in the sand means that you're choosing to ignore the tough stuff that's going on in your life. You're distracting yourself with all kinds of bullshit instead of facing what really matters. Avoiding your problems just leads to a pile of crap that you've got to deal with later. So I implore you, get real with yourself and confront that shit head on, bro. That's it. Confront that shit head on. Honestly, like, fucking distracting yourself, like, that's pointless, bro. It's literally pointless, brother. Straight up. Like, I don't even understand that whole living in the gray area, living in the middle. It's like, well, I'm distracted enough to not actually fix the problem, even though it's a problem. And, like, fuck that. Like, I would not want to live there. Like, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to live in a place that I am genuinely unhappy with who I am and my position in the world and refusing to look at myself so that I can acknowledge it, set intention, and do something about it. Yeah, that's not the life for me. Or you. Like, I hope that it's not the life for you either, my brother. Honestly. Like, I hope that, you know what I mean? Like, me shedding the light on these things and casting them out of the shadows and creating that awareness around it gives you the ability to see it. You know what I mean? Sometimes we can't see what we don't know to look for. So I can only hope that I'm, you know what I mean? I'm raising that awareness around your introspection. And as for today's topic, so that you'll stop fucking distracting yourself and do the deep work that it takes. That you're capable of so much more. I know you know that in your heart of hearts, that you're actually capable of so much more than you're currently contributing to the fucking world. At best, you're continuously extracting and extrapolating from the world. You're not contributing. Which, like, man, that's pussy shit. That's little boy shit. Straight up. Like, you don't feel like you should be contributing to the world? That's wrong. Like, that is really wrong. Like, it's so fucking selfish. Honestly. Like, people actually, it's funny because people actually try and put me in that container. Like, that, like, I'm showboat, you know what I mean? Fucking, I just want people to fucking acknowledge my intelligence and this and that. It's like, oh my god, like, I pray for your sake that that's not genuinely like what you believe about why I do this. That may be some false narrative that you've constructed, you know what I mean, to protect yourself because, you know what I mean, I'm living in my greatness, in my truth, in my passion, in my purpose. And that can hurt a lot of people's feelings if you're not living in your purpose with passion in your life. But you will never fucking get there if you refuse to look at yourself. Stop distracting yourself. So, anyways, number 2, what are some common distractions that men use to avoid their problems? Let's just be honest here. Men love to dive into distractions. Like, we're talking video games, grinding at work can be a distraction. Like, you know what I mean? Like, overworking can be a distraction. Scrolling through social media, or even hitting the bottle too hard. Straight up. Getting too drunk or doing drugs, playing video games, you know what I mean? Just like being a workaholic. But recognizing these distractions is key, my brother. Awareness is the first step to kicking those habits to curb and kicking those habits to the curb and making some real changes in your life. Let's drop that one more time. What are some common distractions that men use to avoid their problems? Let's just be honest here, fellas. We love to dive deep into our distractions. And like, we're talking video games, being a workaholic, scrolling through social media, hitting the bottle too hard, smoking too much weed, doing drugs, period. But recognizing these distractions is key, brother. Awareness is the first step to kicking those habits to the curb and making some real changes in your life. Honestly, it's a great question. Like, what are some common distractions? Like, there's a ton of them. Gambling, fucking, um, womanizing. You know what I mean? Like, sleeping with tons of girls, especially like ones that don't even actually, like, aren't even like your type. Like, you're just like seeking a distraction and that like external ugly validation. That's not a win. Like, it isn't. You'll learn that later in life that it's actually not a win to just be out there trying to conquer all these random ass women. That has nothing to do with anything. It's definitely a place that I found myself at one point in my life. Um, it's not it, bro. Like, it honestly isn't. So the third question: how can I identify when I'm using distractions instead of addressing my feelings? Got to pay attention, man. Like, if you're not procrastinating, feeling overwhelmed, or just can't find the motivation to tackle your problems, it's a red flag. Like, it is. Got to pay attention, man. Like, if you're procrastinating, feeling overwhelmed, or just can't find the motivation to tackle your problems, that's a red flag. You can try journaling, practicing meditation, like mindful practices to get a grip on what's really going on inside. It's time to dig deep and confront those feelings instead of pushing them aside and distracting yourself. Number 4, what are some consequences? Number 4, what are some consequences of ignoring emotional issues? Ignoring your emotional issues is like pouring gasoline on a fucking fire. It gets worse, brother. It compounds. Like, you are looking at increased anxiety, depression, and your relationships going down the drain as a result of it. Avoiding the tough stuff stunts your growth and well being. So it's crucial to face feelings instead of running away from them and distracting yourself. Like, it's very important that you're quick to confront, embrace, understand, augment your, you know what I mean, your feelings. Because, like, it's not all just set in stone. Like, it's not like you do not have the ability to change. That couldn't be farther from the fucking truth. Like, we all have the ability to change. Like, is like there's people definitely that are, you know what I mean, of a more fixed mindset and stuff like that. So it does genuinely, it's more difficult for them, like, that's for sure, to like to really step into that. Like, me, I'm definitely of a growth mindset. Like, if I'm not growing, like, I almost don't feel right, man. Like, straight up. Like, honestly, it's all about the growth for me. Like, I can't even imagine a life where, like, you're scared of change, there's no evolutions, there's nothing, you know what I mean, nothing even going on, like, to better your situation. I can't even imagine a life like that. Like, I actually can't. um so number 5, like the final question from the Q&A: what are some strategies to help me confront my issues instead of distracting myself? Here's the deal: start by building self awareness. You can use mindful practices to snap out of distraction mode and recognize what you're truly avoiding and when you're doing it. And don't be afraid to reach out, man. Like, talk to your buddies, talk to your family, like, or even get a pro on your side. You know what I mean? Hire a coach, go to therapy, fucking join Growth Gang, jump in a fucking meeting. You'd be damn surprised, man. Like, it is like so therapeutic. Like, it's almost group therapy. Like, it just feels weird to me to say it as that. Like, what the growth, like, group growth talks are in the Growth Gang community. It feels weird to call it group therapy, but it is essentially one and the same. But I try not to call it that because it feels a little taboo to me, and I know that it is inevitably going to alienate some guys that just like, oh, I'm a fucking therapist. I don't talk to nobody about my problems. It's like, And then there's the side like me, like I could never get. See, this is bad, but honest, gonna be honest. I truly believe, and this may be a limiting belief, definitely, but I truly believe that like I would never fully be transparent in therapy. Like I could never truly tell them everything that's happened in my life. Like I just can't. Like, there's some shit I'm taking to the grave, bro. It just is what it is, right? I hope that that's not the case for you because like it can be. It's a big energy leak. It's a huge emotional drain. Like to be harboring that trauma and just being like unwilling to even let it out or confront it. You know what I mean? Yeah, externally. But I find it to be very therapeutic, and I can drop it in micro doses across the spectrum of different men in the group growth talks. So I am getting it out that way. Like I guess I'm not, you know what I mean? Essentially I'm not taking it to the grave, but just getting more comfortable with some of the men that are in there that are now my confidants and you know what I mean? Releasing it bit by bits, you know what I mean? Slowly and getting feedback. And across like I said, like across the spectrum of men, like I doubt that I'll ever be able to tell one individual other than my father. I gotta admit, man, my dad. Shout out to my pops, honestly, because like talk about impartial, like to the point where like it's almost weird to me, like how like the man has no judgment in him, like he just fucking doesn't. I can tell him about anything, 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 and like he's not gonna judge, and he's actually gonna get in the ring with you and try and understand why it happened without like demeaning your character or you know what I mean, or you as a man. He's actually going to get in the ring with you and try and understand, like, okay, like, well, what led to this? Like, or you know what I mean, in the moment, like, why'd you snap and do that? Or, you know what I mean? Like, fucking great. But, like, you know what I mean? It's definitely a tough thing for me to open up. Like, it really is. There's just some things, like I said, like, and even like out of loyalty to other people involved in some of the situations, I'm just not going to talk about it. So like I am doing it, like I said, across the spectrum of different men in micro doses, so that I can at least get it out there, get it off my chest, get some fucking feedback from men that I respect and they're now my confidants. And we do that in the growth talks. It's literally like group therapy, but it's not. But yeah, so like get back on this. Like to be honest, the first thing, like the first time like that I really realized distractions wasn't introspective. It was it was a denoted perception of something that my brother was doing. I have a couple brothers, but like I'm closest right now with my youngest brother Marshall. Like we're really close, but we're the most kindred. Like we're the closest out of, you know what I mean, my brothers. Um, one of my brothers is literally like, I hope that I'm wrong, but like I believe my heart of hearts constructed his life based on like trying to be the polar opposite of me. I think he literally like that's how he's putting it all together. Like that's his, you know what I mean? That's his metrics measure. That's his checks and balances. It's like, well, what would Donnie do? And it's like I'm gonna do the exact opposite. Well, for those who don't know, my real name's Donnie. But yeah. So like I noticed it in him. He was living with me at the time and like just noticed like just constantly trying to distract himself. Like he just needed to constantly be inundated and like distracted to the point where like nothing was actually getting through anymore. Like he'd be playing video games on fucking FaceTime with somebody, playing music, and and then when those distractions started to wear out, like started to like, you know what I mean, lose their application and not adequately distracting him anymore, he would move into the, oh, I gotta go out, or oh, I gotta go get, I don't even want to say it that way, but like I gotta go get a girl type shit. You know what I mean? Oh, I gotta go out with the boys. I gotta this. Like just constantly like across the board, like distraction, 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 distraction. Like no introspection, no creating a new awareness, no setting new intention, and no disciplining yourself to, you know what I mean, to rise up to that intention through action, which is the equation. That's what you should be doing. But 99.99% of men out there are pushing themselves through life, being pulled in every which way by all of their, you know what I mean, all of their external duties and obligations, and all the while blaming them for, oh, like that's why I can't do anything for myself because I pulled this way, just constantly a tug of war in all directions for, you know what I mean, my obligations, my dependents, the people that count on me. But like it takes some real intention to get in front of that, and like to be able to operate from, you know what I mean, a place of awareness and a place of intention, rather than just being like pull, like having all these external pulls and then placing the blame on them as to why you're not doing anything for yourself or to better yourself or to get in alignment. It's fucking bullshit, bro. Straight up. You might need to sacrifice a little sleep for a bit to, you know what I mean, form some new habits, some new rituals, some new ways of thinking. But it is totally possible. But if all you're doing is constantly distracting yourself, it's fucking impossible. Like it is. Put your fucking phone down. Stop scrolling. We're all guilty of it. Like it's not like I don't find myself doing these things. It's just I'm aware enough now to catch myself doing them and course correct. Like nobody's fucking perfect. Like Jesus, like what? Like an hour ago, I found myself just doom scrolling through Instagram, and it's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, ugh, I don't know, honestly. But it, like, there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of different distractions. Like people find a multitude of ways across a very wide spectrum to distract themselves. Could be anything, but literally, like if anything that is like inundating your brain, but it's out of alignment with what you should be pursuing in this life, and it's creating that space to not have to look at what's wrong and fix it. It's just a fucking distraction. And like I really hope that, you know what I mean, even just I hope that this video could be the catalyst to change for you too. Like maybe this is how you change. Like maybe you weren't even aware. It's like, holy fuck, that's a distraction. Holy fuck, that's a distraction. Wait, that's a distraction. Like distractions, like even for me, can be simple. Like fucking sometimes I get too stuck in the rigidness of my routine, and I'm getting like inherently putting myself in a box that distracts me from the bigger picture that is at play and that could be afforded to me in more of a flow state. It distracts me. Like it does. It takes, you know what I mean? Takes my energy and my awareness away from what I should be seeing, what I should be doing, and what I should be pursuing in the moment. Thus it's a distraction. People do drugs to do it. People have certain relationships that are just like utterly a distraction for them. Some people literally keep toxic people in their life just to be able to critique them and apply that oversight to them so that they don't have to look at them fucking selves. It's crazy, bro. Like it's crazy. I want to end this off with one more thing too, because I'm gonna drive this home until it's in you. It's a part of you. My brothers, please stop placing blame on external factors. You are far better off, even if it's not true, to believe that everything is your fucking fault. That whether it was a year ago, a month ago, a minute ago, that you created an input that yielded that output, or you neglected to do something that yielded, you know, neglected an input to yield the output. Either way, the safest bet as a man who wants to become a better man is it's all your fault. Because the moment that you place that blame outside of yourself, you place it outside of the realm of your control. If it's your fault, you can take a look at it, dissect it, create that awareness, set the intention, and discipline yourself to fucking fix it. If it's so and so's doing why things are this way for me, well, how the fuck do I fix that? Like, obviously, you know what I mean? Like, I could do away with that person, but I think if we're more honest with ourselves, like, it's us. It is us. Like, you are the only person who can truly stop you. Other people can throw their manipulations and, you know what I mean, try and derail you, like, create a distraction, whatever. But only you can truly stop you. So I want to leave that. I want to leave today's growth talk off on that. Stop placing blame outside of yourself because you're placing it outside your ability to fix said thing outside of your control. Don't do that. Like, as a man, you do not do that. That's for women and children, bro. Straight up. But that's distractions. I hope that I've created a new vantage point to look down at your life and understand that you may literally just be constantly inundating and distracting yourself from looking at yourself and your life situation, like and where you currently are, so that you don't actually have to acknowledge your downfalls and make the changes. Until next time, my brothers, let's grow together.